I learned everything I could for about 3 months, staying up till like 3 a.m. every night, jotting down notes in my notebook, learning everything I can till I had a well-rounded understanding of the business. And once I felt I had that understanding of the business, I then took action. It took me 8 months to get my first deal. I had contracts canceled throughout that journey. I felt like giving up, but I pushed through. And after 8 months, at 16 years old, or I might have just turned 17, I was able to score my first wholesale deal for $30,000 profit. And
wow.
Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. TikTok, you don't stop. I will help you make your paper stack. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now? 205-964-5243. Now you know. 205-964-5243. Now you know.
Hello, guys. This is Ty, a.k.a. the Flip Man. And today, we have a very, very special guest here out of Phoenix, Arizona, a 19-year-old that's out here killing this wholesaling game. And he's here to share how he's doing it. And so we now know age is not an issue. And because he started at 16 years old, just briefly telling me that before we got started here. So enough of me yapping. How's it going, Jacob?
It's going good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem at all, man. I'm glad we were able to put this together. My man Isaac referred you, and so we did an interview with him last week, I think, or so. And so now we want to dive into what you have going on, and so I'll learn, and everyone that's watching is learning from your success. So if you could just give us a little background about yourself, and up to the point that I guess a little bit before you started actually wholesaling real estate investing, and then we'll get into that part of it.
Yeah, definitely. So I started my real estate journey at 16 years old. And what made me get into real estate was I had to drop out of regular high school and do online school because I got sick with mono and I wasn't able to wake up early and go to school because I kept getting sick. So I had to drop out of regular high school and do online school. And that freed up so much of my time. So I had so much time on my hands and I was sitting around doing nothing. And that's when I kind of decided that it would be good to get into real estate because I had a bunch of free time. And so I found real estate wholesaling on YouTube and I got addicted to it. And I started learning everything that I possibly could. And I learned everything I could for about 3 months, staying up till like 3 a.m. every night, jotting down notes in my notebook, learning everything I can till I had a well-rounded understanding of the business. And once I felt I had that understanding of the business, I then took action. It took me 8 months to get my first deal. I had contracts canceled throughout that journey. I felt like giving up, but I pushed through. And after 8 months, at 16 years old, or I might have just turned 17, I was able to score my first wholesale deal for $30,000 profit. And
wow. Okay.
Been
all right.
let's ever since then.
All right. Let's go over a couple of things there. I love it. So as I try to preach to a lot of individuals out here that say, where do I start first? Okay. So simply, you have to educate yourself, whatever source that is. Now, my YouTube channel, I literally give it all away. So I normally tell someone, and a lot of you have probably have gotten this message from me, set yourself a 1 to 2 month goal. You're going to become an expert on wholesaling through just my channel. There's other sources out there. Use them all. All right. And so you did 3 months. Boom. You were standing up to 3 in the morning because you were engulfed in it. And so when you finally decided to take action, it didn't happen for you quickly. 8 months to get that first deal, but a $30,000 payday. So let's get into what was the first step that you took once you said, hey, I can do this. I think I have a good understanding of it. What did you do first outside of the training, obviously?
Yeah. And I agree too. There's so many free ways to learn about this on YouTube, on my YouTube channel too. I teach about it as well for free. So YouTube is such a good place to start. And so that's what I did. I learned everything I could on YouTube. And then the first step that I did, which probably wasn't smart, was I I mapped out all the pre-foreclosures and lates in my area, so I had a good route to all of them. And then I printed out 1,000 flyers on regular printer paper, and I started going and knocking on doors, passing out these flyers. If they weren't home, I would tape the flyer to their door or leave it in the mailbox. And I did a bunch of that. I would drive around with my friends, and I never got a call. Got a lot of doors slammed in my face, but I never got a call. And then I decided to do a little bit of bandit signs. And that didn't work out well either, no calls, but I only put up about 100 of those. But what I realized from doing those 2 marketing channels is I need to do proactive marketing rather than reactive marketing. If I'm putting up bandit signs or leaving flyers there, I'm waiting for them to come to me and call me when I should be calling them. And that's when I started to do cold calling. I got data and I got a dialer, and I started cold calling every single day for hours. And I started to gain some traction. I went on a couple appointments. I got a good amount of motivated seller leads. And then shortly after, I saved up money and I decided to hire 2 cold callers. And once I hired those 2 cold callers and I started doing a lot more cold calling marketing, that's when I really started to gain traction, and I felt like I was getting way closer to getting a deal. And that's basically what I did to search down my first deal.
All right, boom. So when you say you hired 2 cold callers, were they VAs from the Philippines or something like that? Or what did you do?
Yeah, VAs from the Philippines.
Okay, boom. All right. But you had a part-time job or something, just taking that into consideration with your age or whatever, just your allowance or what?
I had a good amount of money saved up going into this. I
Okay.
had about $5,000 to invest to try to get this first deal that I had saved.
Okay.
And then I did work a couple, odd jobs. And one of my main things, I worked at like a burger place, but that was only for a little. And then one of my main things that I would do as a side hustle was I would flip junk on OfferUp. So kind of like that couch flipping stuff that you hear. But what I would do is I would just reach out to my family members and see if they had any stuff they wanted to get rid of that I could sell for them. Most of the time they'd give me all the profit, or I would split it with them. I'd sell it for them, and boom. And I partnered with friends and sold stuff on OfferUp. I partnered with my grandma's handyman and did the same thing. And so that's kind of how I was making this money in order to do this.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's what's up, Jacob. All right, cool.
Thank
All
you.
right. So let's talk about that first deal that you came across. You were generating a lot of leads, but I'm assuming they were not turning into deals initially. So let's talk about how the first deal came about.
Yeah, so I went to a lot of appointments and nobody would sign. Nobody would sign. I feel like a lot of people feel that way, that nobody will ever sign, and it's just part of the game. And that's why when you get good at this, you'll transition to trying to get people to sign over the computer. So that way you're wasting less time going out to their house. But I went to a lot of appointments, no one would sign. Finally, I went to an appointment in Glendale, Arizona on a golf course, and these people signed. But then I walked a buyer through the property and he pointed out all these foundation issues. And when I brought that up to the seller, they told me they already got a bid for the foundation repair and it was going to cost $17,000 to fix it. And that killed the numbers. The deal no longer worked, so I had to cancel the deal. And this was after 6 months. So I really felt like giving up, but I didn't. I kept pushing forward. And then I went to an appointment in Scottsdale, Arizona. I locked up the deal for $470,000. And I sold it to Zach Keeps for $500,000 and made a $30,000 assignment fee.
What was the ARV on that one?
The ARV was conservatively 660.
Okay.
And then if you did a really, really good remodel, probably 720.
Okay. All right. Boom.
I undersold the deal too because I was inexperienced.
You could have made more. Wow.
Yeah, it actually got sold up to where the amount of fees that were involved was over $90,000. So I missed out on like 50 grand.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So, from that particular deal, what was the situation that they sold it at a discount?
So they had a new build that they built and they wanted to move into it. And they just normal people. There wasn't really super high motivation there. They were just really nice people that would consider a reasonable price, reasonable people. And they had a deadline where they wanted to move out. So they were trying to do this quick. They didn't want to clean up their property and they didn't want to deal with a realtor, inspections, FHA loan, long close, none of that. They just wanted, to get it done quick. And so that's kind of what my product and service was able to provide to them that made them want to work with me.
All right. So, when you got to the contract part of it, number one, I guess you had realized, hey, I need to just email a contract over versus trying to put it in the hands, or how did you handle that?
I actually signed my first deal in person.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
So you did that one in person. So from the point that you had it on the contract with the, how much earnest money did you put down?
$100.
$100. Boom. There you go.
Yep.
All right. They didn't flinch, I'm assuming, on it.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
All right. All right. What contract you created your own, or
a 2-page contract I got from like the All In Entrepreneurs, from those guys.
Okay, I got you. All right. So boom. So now you have it on the contract. So what was the first thing that you did?
The first thing that I did was I had my pictures. So I went and I uploaded the pictures off my phone into a folder. And then I started texting out the deal with a link to the folder of the pictures to some buyers that I had built up over time. And I really didn't have many buyers. I was connected with Zachary Keeps, who owns over 220 doors now in Arizona. So he was a really good buyer. And so basically I sent it to a couple other people, but I just hit him up and he wanted to buy it. So I was like, there we go. There's some money to be made here. And there we go. And that's kind of why I lost out on a good chunk, because I didn't have that many buyers. But all that mattered was that I made money, you know?
Correct. Oh yeah, most definitely. 30 grand is nothing to sneeze at
Nope.
any point, at any age. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So from the time that you added in the contract and the time it closed, how long did it take?
I think it was a little bit over 30 days, maybe
Okay.
like 30, 34 days.
Okay. All right. Why did it take so long for him to close it?
They wanted to close right when they were ready to move into their new one.
Oh, it was them that were delaying it. Okay. So he was ready to go. They were the delay. Okay. And that will happen with sellers sometimes. Okay. And just notice, guys, this wasn't a vacant house. This was where the people actually lived, if I'm understanding you correct, right?
Correct.
All right, boom. All right, so now you close that first deal, you know it works, 30 grand. So now you have a serious war chest to pour into more marketing. So what was next up for you?
And that's exactly what I did. I dumped all that money back into the business. I went from 2 cold callers to 4, and then I did a few more deals, 15K deal, 24K deal. Then I got to 6 cold callers, and then to 8, 12, and so on. And I just kept scaling that way because I proved it to myself. The proof of concept was there. So I kept just reinvesting in what worked. I didn't deviate. I didn't want to try something new. I knew it would work. So I rinse and repeat and kept doing deals.
Boom. So where are you right now as far as the form of marketing that you're doing and the number of deals that you're closing?
Yeah, so I have about 30 cold callers, and we do between 10 to 20 deals a month, depending on the month. We contract about 30 a month in contracts, which is really good because we've been trying to get that up because that's most important. You got to be stacking the paper, is what I say. Get as many contracts as you can because eventually you're going to get paid on them. And this year we're going to do about $2 million in revenue, just a little bit under 2 million.
Oh, wow. So most of your deals are right there in that Phoenix market, that general Phoenix market, or so you haven't deviated outside of that at this point?
We were in 6 markets a little while ago, and I just kind of tightened everything up, focusing more on just Arizona and California a bit. But we're about to go into Georgia and a couple other markets again. We were having a lot more success than the other markets during this period of time in Arizona. So I thought, let's turn everything off and focus directly on Arizona. But we were in California, Texas, Georgia, Nevada, and Pennsylvania for a bit. But we've always mainly done most of our deals in Texas and Arizona throughout my whole career.
Oh, wow. Okay. So as far as when you're in those other markets, so now you're virtual wholesaling, the piece of the puzzle, how were you closing your deals because you were not there? What were you doing to just some of the grunt work, like, just showing the house sometimes, like the seller still lives there, the buyer shows up, no one's there to represent you. So how were you handling that part of it?
Yeah, so a lot of times I do partner with other big companies out there to help me work the deal and help me sell it. But I have been building up my buyers list in these different markets so that way I don't have to do that as much. If I was doing that, they would help me out with the walkthroughs and stuff. But if I was selling it to somebody directly through myself and not using another company to help me sell the deal, then I would usually have them sign a walkthrough agreement, like a non-circumvention agreement, so they can't
Mm.
circumvent the deal from me. A simple walkthrough agreement saying you're not going to go around me and try to work out a deal with the seller. And then I would trust that the buyer wouldn't say anything to the seller when they're walking through the property.
Okay.
And it worked out. And then for pictures, I would either have the seller send me pictures, and if they couldn't, then I would send a realtor out or someone off Craigslist or somebody that follows me on my social media that's in that market to go take pictures for me.
All right. Boom. Okay. So wow. Okay. So what? So you scaled it back. So, but you say you're gonna target other markets now. You said Atlanta is going to be one of them. What other markets do you have your eyes on right now?
Yeah, pretty much just Georgia right now. We have been working more in California than I was when I slowed down a bit on other markets. But I'm kind of trying to do a lot more market research and look at what buyers are paying more accurately and really read into that stuff before going into a market. Because I think when I was going into all these markets, it was my first time really expanding virtual in more than just one other virtual state. And so I just was going wherever I heard it was good. And now I'm really trying to do more of that market research before I do so and have the right data to market to before I go into it.
Okay, boom. All right, wow, Jacob. Just really quick, if someone was starting out brand new, and let me ask you this: you're a young guy and you look young. So, did you ever feel that was an issue?
Oh yeah, all the time. Especially like in the beginning when I was 16. I mean, I would get called like ma'am and miss on the phone because they thought I was a girl because my voice wasn't deep at all. So like it was so challenging. And then with the appointments, I had to dress a certain way, and I had to really come with it, proof of funds, and I would find proof of funds online to use, and like I just did whatever way to avoid the objection of being young. And I think what happened is I just acted as if I knew what I was talking about, and I just was so confident. I made myself be so confident because it's hard to deny confidence, and I was able to push past that problem of being young. But it was hard for sure.
All right. Wow. Okay. Cool. Well, man, we covered a lot there as far as your start, your current process. What would you tell someone, most importantly, if they were starting out right now, like this may be the first time they're getting introduced to wholesaling through this particular video? What would you tell, or someone that's been struggling at whatever stage they're at, what would you tell them right now?
Well, what I would tell them is if you know nothing and you're really just getting started, the best thing to do is start watching way more YouTube videos than just this one. So your channel, my channel, there's other channels out there. Learn as much as you can. That's number one. And then if you're either struggling or want to get started and don't know what marketing channel to do, cold calling marketing has always worked for me. It's inexpensive and it goes back to the basics, calling people and having them pick up the phone. It's simple. So, I just highly recommend that people starting out go with that marketing channel. And I think, there's no way it won't work.
Boom, man. Yeah, go ahead and give me your channel. Go ahead and I'll have it. I'll have a lower third here for it, graphic for it. But just go ahead and just tell them how to reach out to you through your channel and your social media.
Cool. Yeah. On social media, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, I'm just Jacob Blank. And if you want to read like more about my story in depth, you can go to jacobblank.com and my whole story's there. But yeah, I put out like 3 educational videos a week on YouTube that teach you everything you could possibly need to know because I just want to give back. And I also want to try to motivate the youth, young kids, on showing them that this is possible too. And it's been a fun journey to be able to do that. So check me out.
Boom, guys. 19 years old, man. Your parents, what do they think about your what you have going on, man? Just out of curiosity.
they're super proud, and I wasn't always the best kid ever, so they had concerns that I wouldn't be doing nothing with my life and I'd be failing. So they're as happy as can be. So it's a blessing for sure.
Oh, most definitely. Question. Uh, college, or that's, I wish this is a dumb question in a sense, but like, was that before you got into this, was that like part of your goal, or, because I'm pretty sure you're not in college, right?
Yeah, college before this was going to be if I had to.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
if I didn't find something to work out before having to go, I would have went to college. But I guarantee in college, I would have done online classes and I would have been working on figuring out how to make money and drop out. So,
And trust me, it's very few degrees. I only, outside of probably being an attorney, physician's not going to make this. I guess a plastic surgeon or something like that can
yeah.
make that type of money. But other than that, I guess mechanical engineering could come up with something. But the other stuff, like I got a degree in history, there's no way you can make this type of money. There's no
Yeah.
way. No way.
And there's no way either that you're going to feel this good about the work that you do, because you're building something for yourself every single day. So you have something to be passionate about. And it just feels so good to be, building your own like empire. And so you don't get that with just getting a degree and going and getting a job. So
Very difficult. You're so right, man. All right, Jacob, man, I really, really appreciate we were able to connect. We're going to be able to put this content out here to definitely give people some direction to go with and let you know, hey, you're not too young to start this. You're not too old to start it either. So it just boils down to educating yourself and putting that into action. And it doesn't have to be perfect in order for you to make money. Jacob has shown you took him 8 months to do his first deal, but it was more than worth it with a $30,000 payday. So again, Jacob, man, I really, really appreciate you sharing your situation and your story with us. And I always say, guys, we will see you on the flip side.
thank you.
Text me and I'll text you back. Text me and I'll text you back. Text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. You text me then I'll text you back. TikTok, you don't stop. I will help you make your paper stack. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at now? 205-964-5243. Now you know. 205-964-5243. Now you know.